Hello, I'm Nikki Newman. This is my official YouTube channel. Please subscribe and support us.
The Young and the Restless spoilers Thurdays, full April 16, 2026. Welcome back to the channel, guys. It is a wildly chaotic Tuesday and my coffee is long gone. But we have to talk about the absolute madness happening in Genoa City right now because my brain is just fried from the sheer audacity of these characters today. So let's just go ahead and jump straight into the absolute mess that went down at the Abbott mansion. I've been staring at my screen for like 3 hours trying to figure out how to even write this up because I'm honestly just exhausted by Diane Jenkins. But let's be real for a second. Tracy Abbott is the undisputed MVP of Genoa City right now. She really is. Tracy didn't come to the mansion to bake cookies or hold Diane's hand or offer a shoulder to cry on. No, she came with cold, hard, indisputable facts, and she completely destroyed Diane's victim narrative in about 2 minutes flat. And you guys know Tracy. She is the peacemaker. She is the glue that holds the Abbott family together. But she is fresh off that horrific trauma with Martin Lawrence pretending to be Ellen, so her tolerance for manipulation and lies is basically at zero. So when Diane shows up at the mansion and tries to pull this whole "I'm just here to pack some of my things" routine, Tracy is just not having it. Carl is standing there looking like a sad puppy, desperately hoping his mom is going to stay and fix things with Jack. But Diane is just completely wallowing in her own misery. Tracy urges her to stay. She tells Diane that Jack is drowning in regret and desperately looking for a chance to make things right. But Diane doesn't want to hear about Jack's feelings. She wants to know where his love was when he was in bed with that awful woman Patty Williams. And honestly, I get it. The visual of that is horrific. But this is where Tracy drops the absolute hammer. She faked her death. Tracy looks Diane right in the eye and reminds her that she faked her actual death. Let that sink in. Diane orchestrated her own murder back in 2011. She used a corpse from the morgue. She let Jack and Carl believe she was violently murdered. She let Kyle grow up thinking his mother was dead. She let them suffer for over a decade, a whole decade. And then she just waltzes back into town, reclaims her family, reclaims her life, and Jack forgives her. Jack forgave her for 10 years of agonizing grief. So Tracy is basically saying, hey, maybe you could show a tiny ounce of grace for Jack, who was literally drugged and manipulated by a psychopath. And the crazy thing is, Diane doesn't even argue. She can't. Because Tracy Abbott is not wrong and they both know it, Diane actually admits that Tracy is right. She says she knows she should have some sympathy for Jack, but her heart just won't let her. Carl is begging her, telling her to just start by saying that to Jack, but Diane is just so stuck. She says she would trade anything to go back to how things were. Okay, maybe I'm being too harsh on Diane here. Heartbreak is heartbreak, and logic doesn't always win. I get that she is hurting. But the hypocrisy is just so loud it is deafening. So then Nikki Newman shows up at the door, because of course she does. Nikki just cannot help herself when it comes to Jack. She wants to help, or at least she thinks she's helping, but Diane is already at her absolute breaking point. Nikki tries to explain that Jack was drugged by her soulless father Victor. But Diane is so sick of everyone treating Jack like a helpless victim. She asks Nikki why the two of them have this sick, twisted need to constantly fix each other's lives. And then she snaps. Diane slams the heavy front door right in Nikki's face. But she doesn't just slam it, she slams it right on Nikki's hand. The door crushed Nikki's hand and the scream of pain was just, wow, it was violent. It was a purely vindictive, jealous, rage-fueled move. Nikki is in absolute agony, screaming that she is going to get revenge on this crazy bitch. And honestly, I don't blame Nikki for being furious. Diane knows Jack was drugged. She knows Victor orchestrated the whole kidnapping. But she just can't get the image of Jack and Patty out of her head. And she took all that insane jealousy out on Nikki's hand. It's a complete disaster. Anyway, moving across town, Nikki goes straight to society to complain to Victoria. Nikki is in pain, she is furious, and she is ranting about Victor refusing to admit he was wrong. She tells Victoria that what Victor did to Jack was completely inhumane, which it was. Victor literally had Jack kidnapped and thrown on a yacht with a delusional Patty Williams. But Victoria, oh my God, Victoria is on this ridiculous protected ad tour right now, and it is driving me insane. Victoria actually looks at her mother and says that whatever happened is Jack's own fault. What? How is being kidnapped Jack's fault? Victoria is justifying everything because Victor's plan to steal Chancellor is working, so in her mind, the ends justify the means, accountability is for the weak, right? That's the new Newman family motto, apparently. Nikki is completely disagreeing with her. Nikki loves Victor. We all know she will always go back to him, but she has never been this angry. She actually warns Victoria that this time, they might not be able to come back from this. Victor crossed a line that is so dark, even Nikki can't sweep it under the rug. And then Kyle walks in. Kyle walks into society and immediately starts arguing with Victoria about this endless, exhausting war between their families. Victoria, with a straight face, asks Kyle to try and look at things from Victor's perspective. She says Victor is off balance, desperate, and terrified of losing everything. Kyle just looks at her like she has 3 heads. Are you serious? He asks. And I am right there with Kyle. Why should anyone have empathy for Victor Newman right now? He is terrorizing people. But Victoria is just blindly loyal. These 2 families are never going to stop fighting. They are just going to keep destroying each other, and we are just going to keep watching it happen for the next 20 years. So let's shift gears for a second and talk about the Winters family drama, because that is a whole other level of messy right now. Over at Chancellor Park, Holden Novak runs into Kane Ashby. Now Holden is reeling. He just found out his entire life is a lie. So he just blurts out the truth to Kane. He tells Kane that Lily Winters is his half-sister. Malcolm Winters is his biological father, and his mother, Stephanie, kept this massive secret from him for his entire life. Kane is absolutely stunned. He is just standing there processing this massive bombshell. But he thanks Holden for sharing it with him. Now, think about this. Kane is currently plotting a massive revenge scheme against Victor. He wants to recruit Holden to help him. And now Kane has this incredibly sensitive, explosive piece of family leverage. Kane is opportunistic, we know this, but he also genuinely still loves Lily. So how is he going to use this information? And of course, Audra Charles is lurking nearby, because Audra is always lurking. She is literally always eavesdropping on someone. She hears the whole conversation. After Kane leaves, Audra slithers out of the bushes and immediately starts scolding Holden. But she's not mad about this secret. She's mad that Holden confided in Claire Newman instead of her. Audra is just dripping with jealousy. She accuses Holden of pouring his heart out to that stupid little girl just so he could get her into bed. It is so petty. Audra is so used to being the center of attention, and she hates that Holden rejected her at society and chose to open up to Claire instead. Holden just looks at her and tells her that their past in the Dark Horse days is the absolute last thing on his mind right now. He is dealing with an existential life crisis, and Audra is throwing a high school jealousy tantrum. She hates feeling irrelevant, and you can see the wheels turning in her head. She is going to do something spiteful. I can feel it. Meanwhile, Kane tracks Lily down at the GCAC. He corners her. He admits that he is still angry about the whole fake kidnapping thing she pulled a while back, but he says he can't imagine his life without her. He promises to be there for her whenever she needs him. He is really trying to play the supportive ex-husband role here. Maybe he sees this as his way back into her heart. But Lily is just exhausted. She is dealing with Malcolm dying of aplastic anemia. She is dealing with finding out she has a secret brother. And she just does not have the patience for Kane's games. She throws Phyllis right back in his face. She reminds him that Phyllis stole his AI program, drugged him, and took over Newman Enterprises. She basically tells him his life is a toxic mess, and she walks away to take a phone call from their twins, Maddie and Charlie. She is planning to get the twins tested to see if they are a bone marrow match for Malcolm. And honestly, I have to wonder, what if Kane is the match? What if Kane Ashby, the man Malcolm absolutely despises, is the one who has the bone marrow that can save his life? The writers love doing stuff like this. It would force Malcolm to accept help from his worst enemy, and it might actually make Lily look at Kane in a new light. I'm just throwing that theory out there, but you guys know how this show works. Right after Lily walks away from Kane, she runs into Stephanie Simmons. Stephanie is carrying 30 years of guilt on her shoulders. She talks to Lily about the search for Malcolm's donor. She finally admits that hiding Holden's paternity for all these decades was a massive mistake. She looks at Lily and says she just hopes Lily won't blame Holden for any of this. And you have to feel a little bit bad for Stephanie, even though she created this mess. She thought she was protecting her son, but all she did was rob him of a family. And now that family is the only thing that can save Malcolm's life. The lies are all exposed. The secrets are out. And Lily is just standing there, the weight of the entire Winters family resting on her shoulders. I don't know, you guys. I am just so overwhelmed by all these storylines crashing into each other. You have Diane acting like a hypocrite, but also acting out of genuine pain. You have Nikki getting her hand crushed in a door. You have Victoria blindly defending a monster. You have Holden wandering around town dropping paternity bombs. And you have Audra lurking in the shadows getting ready to ruin everything out of pure spite. It is a lot. It is clunky. It is messy, and it is classic Young and the Restless. I am going to need a very strong drink before tomorrow's episode. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Am I being too hard on Diane? Is Victoria completely delusional? And who actually believes this Kane and Lily thing is going to end well? Let's talk about it. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. It is a beautiful, wild day in the soap world, and we have so much to unpack today about our favorite messy residents of Genoa City. Grab your coffee and get comfortable, because we have a lot of ground to cover, and let's get right into the madness. So let's just get right into it, because I'm honestly losing my mind over this whole Las Vegas storyline right now. And I mean losing my mind in a good way, but also in a very tired, very frustrated way. You guys know exactly how I feel about this. We have been watching Adam Newman and Nick Newman run around Sin City for weeks now, trying to track down Matt Clark, and it has been a disaster. A complete and total disaster from start to finish. Nick is missing. He walked right into Matt's trap. He is tied up somewhere, completely out of his mind on fentanyl, and Adam is running out of time to find him. But you know who isn't just going to sit around and wait for the worst to happen? Chelsea Lawson. That's right, Chelsea is officially done waiting. She is done sitting in Genoa City, Wisconsin, drinking coffee with Sharon and wringing her hands while the man she loves is out there playing dangerous games in the desert. She has made the decision to take matters into her own hands. And honestly, thank God. Thank God somebody is actually doing something proactive here, because Adam was spiraling. He was totally spiraling back into his old spider persona, and we all know how that ends. It never ends well. Never. But let's back up for a second and just look at the psychology of what Chelsea is doing right now, because this is huge. A few episodes ago, we saw her pacing the floors, talking to Sharon, just absolutely terrified that Adam was slipping away. She knows the dark pull that Vegas has on him. She knows that when he puts on that spider hat, he stops thinking like the Adam Newman who loves her and starts thinking like a ruthless underground gambler who doesn't care about anything or anyone. And Chelsea has worked too hard to get her family back on track to just let a ghost from the past like Matt Clark ruin it all. So she packs a bag, she books a flight, she heads to Vegas. And I just have to say, I love this version of Chelsea. I love the proactive, fiercely protective Chelsea. Sometimes I think the writers forget how capable she is. She used to be a con artist, for crying out loud. She knows how to handle herself in sketchy situations. So seeing her actually get on that plane to go save her man, it's exactly what the fans on social media have been begging for. We were all saying, just send Chelsea, and they actually did it. I mean, what were they thinking keeping her in DC this long anyway? And then we get to the actual arrival. Oh my God, you guys, the arrival. Chelsea showing up at Adam's hotel room is probably going to go down as one of the most chaotic, messy, and iconic moments of the year. Because she doesn't just politely knock and wait for the bellhop. She bursts in, she brings the chaos, and what does she find? She finds Adam and Reza Thompson together in a situation that probably looks a whole lot more intimate than it actually is, and the look on Adam's face. Priceless, just absolute, pure shock. He had no idea she was coming. He explicitly told her to stay home where it was safe. But this is Chelsea we are talking about. She doesn't listen. She never listens when it comes to Adam. And honestly, I don't blame her. If my boyfriend was off in Vegas hanging out with his old underground handler while his brother was missing and drugged by a psychopath, I'd probably burst through the door too. Okay, maybe that sounded dramatic, but you get what I mean? The stakes are too high for polite boundaries right now. But let's talk about Reza. Poor, complicated, manipulative Reza. We have to talk about her because this whole dynamic just got flipped on its head. So Reza has been helping Adam. She's been his lifeline in Vegas, and the spoilers let us know that Adam had been kind of playing her. He was faking this romantic interest, pretending to rekindle whatever weird spark they had back in his spider days, just to get her to use her connections to find Matt Clark, and Reza bought it. She really thought Adam was leaning back into her world. But then Chelsea walks in, the real love of his life. The woman he actually wants, and suddenly Reza realizes she's been played. She realizes all those sweet words and intense looks from Adam were just a strategy. A game, and you have to wonder, how is she going to react to that? Reza is not a woman you want to cross. She has underworld connections. She knows dangerous people. Is she going to turn on Adam now? Is she going to leave him high and dry while Nick is out there dying? I honestly don't know. Part of me thinks she might, but another part of me thinks she genuinely cares about Adam, even if he did use her. And this leads to the most incredible tension between Chelsea and Reza. You have these two incredibly strong, stubborn women in one room, and they are basically circling each other like wolves. Chelsea is absolutely going to mark her territory. She is going to make it abundantly clear to Reza that Adam belongs to her. She is the mother of his child. She is his future. Reza is just a relic from a dark past that Adam is trying to escape. And Chelsea is not afraid to say it. I can just picture the dialogue now. The sharp little jabs, the passive-aggressive smiles. It's soapy perfection, but it's also dangerous. Because like I said, they need Reza. They desperately need her connections to find Matt Clark. So Chelsea has to walk this very fine line between claiming her man and not alienating the one person who can actually save Nick. It is a tightrope walk. And I'm honestly a bit nervous about whether Chelsea can keep her temper in check long enough to get the job done. Sometimes she acts first and thinks later. We've all seen it. So Adam is stuck in the middle of this. And he is freaking out. He loves Chelsea. He really, really loves her. We know that. The show knows that. But he is terrified. He didn't want her anywhere near this mess. He knows how unhinged Matt Clark is. Matt is literally a psychopath who has spent years plotting his revenge against the Newman family. He kidnapped Nick. He pumped him full of fentanyl. He's playing a sick, twisted game. And now Chelsea is right in the middle of the blast radius. Adam's protective instincts are going to be in overdrive. He is going to try to send her home. He is going to beg her to get back on a plane. He'll probably yell at her. They'll have one of those classic Chatham screaming matches where they are both crying and yelling because they love each other so much. You know the ones, they do it so well. But Chelsea isn't going anywhere. She is going to dig her heels in. And then there is the Nick of it all. Oh, Nick. Poor, stupid, brave Nick. When Chelsea finds out the truth about what is actually happening with Nick, it is going to blow her mind. Because up until now, she and Sharon were just kind of guessing back in Genoa City. They knew things were bad, but they didn't know the specifics. Now Chelsea is going to hear the reality. Nick walked right into Matt's trap. Nick thought he was being so smart, turning on his phone tracker, thinking Adam was right behind him. But Matt was smarter. Matt waited in Adam's room. Matt ambushed him, and now Nick is tied up, heavily drugged, basically defenseless. When Chelsea hears this, any thought she might have had about leaving is going to vanish. She cares about Nick. They have a history. They share a child. Nick is family. And Chelsea protects her family. She is going to look Adam in the eye and tell him that she is staying until they find his brother, period. End of discussion. Let's just zoom out for a second and talk about the bigger pattern here with the writers and the show. Why do they always send these characters to Vegas when things get dark? It's like Vegas is this magical alternate dimension for the Newman brothers where all their trauma and bad decisions get amplified by a million. Every time Adam goes to Vegas, he loses a piece of his soul. Every time. And Nick going with him this time. What were they thinking? Who actually believes this is going to end well? It's like the writers just wanted an excuse to strip away all the Genoa City corporate boardroom stuff and get back to raw, gritty survival. And I get it, I do. It's entertaining. But it is also so stressful to watch. I feel like I need a nap after every episode. The pacing is just relentless right now. 1 minute they are in a hotel room. The next minute someone is getting injected with drugs. It's wild. And back to the hotel room dynamic. I really want to focus on Adam's internal conflict here. Because on one hand, having Chelsea there has to be a relief. She is his anchor. When he is spinning out, when the spider persona is threatening to take over, Chelsea is the only one who can pull him back to reality. Her just being in the room probably grounds him. But on the other hand, it makes him vulnerable. Matt Clark's whole strategy is to hurt the Newmans by targeting the people they love. If Matt finds out Chelsea is in Vegas, she immediately becomes a target. She becomes leverage, and Adam knows that. That is why he was faking it with Riza. He was trying to keep his real life separate from this underground nightmare. Now the lines are blurred, the walls are down. Chelsea is right there in the line of fire. And if anything happens to her, Adam will never, ever forgive himself. He will completely shatter. And what about Riza's next move? I can't stop thinking about this. She is sitting there watching this epic reunion argument between Adam and Chelsea, realizing she was just a pawn, a tool. Does she kick them out? Does she call her guys and have them thrown out on the strip? Or does she swallow her pride because she hates Matt Clark too? Let's remember, Matt is bad for business. Matt is chaotic. Riza likes order in her underground world. Maybe, just maybe, she decides to help them anyway, not for Adam, but to get rid of Matt. But she's going to make Adam pay for it. She's going to make him grovel. And honestly, he deserves it. You can't just play with people's feelings, even in Vegas, and expect no consequences. Riza is going to extract a heavy price for her continued help. I just know it. I also have to wonder how Sharon is handling all of this back home. We saw her fielding those terrifying, drug-addled phone calls from Nick. She was listening to him slur his words, fall asleep on the phone, sound completely confused. Sharon is already dealing with so much trauma from her own kidnapping with Martin Laurent. That whole abandoned psychiatric facility nightmare is still fresh in her mind. And now the father of her children is missing and drugged by a madman. Sharon must be losing her mind. And she doesn't even have Chelsea there to lean on anymore because Chelsea took off to Vegas. So Sharon is just sitting there alone, panicking. I really hope the writers give Sharon something to do besides just worrying. Maybe she hop on a plane next. Can you imagine? The whole GC crew descending on Vegas. It would be a circus, but a very entertaining circus. Let's talk about Matt Clark for a minute. The man is a menace, a literal menace. He has been pulling the strings since he escaped. And he is so arrogant, he thinks he has completely won. He has Nick tied up. He probably thinks Adam is running around like a headless chicken. But Matt doesn't know about Chelsea. Chelsea is the wild card. Chelsea is the variable that Matt didn't account for in his grand master plan, and that might be his undoing. Because Chelsea is sneaky, she is resourceful. She might be the one who figures out where Matt is hiding. While Adam is busy trying to muscle his way through the Vegas underground, Chelsea might just use her old grifter skills to track him down. I would love to see that. I would love to see Chelsea be the hero of this story. She deserves a big win. And you guys, the fans, are going crazy over this. If you look at social media right now, it is just a wall of chat and posts. People are so invested in this relationship. They have been through so much. The lies, the betrayals, the mental health struggles. But they always come back to each other, always, and this Vegas trip is just proving it again. Chelsea is literally risking her life to be by his side. That is soap opera romance at its finest. It's messy, it's dangerous, it's probably a little codependent, but we eat it up. We absolutely eat it up, but there are also fans who are worried. Because there is this rumor going around, this massive rumor about a Sherlock and Moriarty-style double-death cliffhanger. People are terrified that Nick and Matt are going to go over a cliff together, or off a building, or whatever. And if Nick dies, well, I don't even want to think about the fallout. If Nick actually dies in Vegas, the Newman family will implode. Victor is already completely unhinged over this Phyllis and Kane corporate takeover stuff. He is running around saying accountability is for the weak and plotting to destroy everyone. If he loses his golden boy Nick, Victor will burn the entire world to the ground. And Adam. Adam will blame himself forever because it was his world, his Vegas past, that dragged Nick into this mess. So the stakes are literally life and death right now. This isn't just about finding Nick, it's about saving the entire Newman family from completely disintegrating. And Chelsea knows that. She knows the weight of what is happening. That's why she can't leave. I just keep picturing the scene in the hotel room. Chelsea standing there, arms crossed, glaring at Riza. Adam running his hands through his hair, pacing the floor, looking like he hasn't slept in a week. Riza pouring herself a drink, looking at them both with absolute disdain. It is such a rich, complicated dynamic, and it's exactly why we watch this show. The character interactions are just so layered. There is so much history between all of them. Even Riza, who hasn't been on screen that much, feels like a fully realized character because of her ties to the Spider Days. You can feel the weight of the past in every conversation, but we have to ask ourselves, what is the actual plan here? Okay, Chelsea is in Vegas. She has marked her territory. She has shocked Adam and Riza. Now what? They still don't know where Matt is. They still don't know where Nick is. They are running out of time. Fentanyl is no joke. Nick can't survive much longer in that state. They need a miracle, or they need Riza to make a phone call. I think Chelsea is going to have to swallow her pride and actually ask Riza for help. That is going to be a huge character moment for her. Chelsea hates asking for help, especially from a woman she sees as a rival. But she will do it for Adam. She will do it for Nick. She will put her ego aside and do whatever it takes. And let's be real, maybe I'm being too harsh on Adam for faking it with Riza. He was desperate. He was using the only tools he had available in a city that he knows is corrupt to its core. He was playing the game. But the problem with playing the game is that eventually the people you are playing realize they are just pieces on a board, and Riza is not a pawn. She is a queen in her own right. Adam underestimated her. He thought he could just charm her and get what he wanted. Now he has to deal with the fallout. And Chelsea is going to have to help him clean up the mess. It's always Chelsea cleaning up Adam's messes, isn't it? But she does it because she loves him. So what are we expecting next week? I expect a lot of yelling. I expect a lot of tears. I expect Chelsea to go full mama bear mode, not just for her kid, but for her man. I want to see her confront Matt Clark. Can you imagine Chelsea Lawson going toe-to-toe with Matt Clark? It would be epic. She wouldn't back down. She would look that psychopath right in the eye and tell him exactly what she thinks of him. But I also expect some really tender moments between Adam and Chelsea. In the midst of all this chaos, they need to reconnect. Adam needs to know that she is there, that she isn't giving up on him, even when he is surrounded by his darkest demons. Honestly, I've been covering this show for a while, and I haven't been this stressed out by a storyline in a long time. It feels like anything could happen. The writers have really backed themselves into a corner here, and I am so curious to see how they write their way out of it. Will they actually kill someone off? Will Riza save the day? Will Chelsea be the hero? We just have to keep watching. But one thing is for sure, the landscape of Genoa City and Las Vegas is never going to be the same after this. The trauma from this trip is going to ripple through these characters for years. Let's also take a moment to really think about how this impacts the rest of the canvas. Because while all this life and death madness is happening in Vegas, Genoa City is still spinning. We've got Phyllis stealing companies, Victor acting like a dictator, Diane smashing Nikki's hand in a door, which, by the way, was insane. But all of that feels so small compared to what Chelsea and Adam are dealing with. It's like there are two different shows happening right now. One is a corporate soap opera, and the other is a dark, gritty crime thriller. And Chelsea just walked right from the soap opera into the thriller. The tonal shift for her character is massive. She went from worrying about fashion lines and coffee shop gossip to dealing with fentanyl-laced kidnappings and underground crime bosses. But she fits right in. That's the crazy thing. Chelsea fits into the darkness just as well as Adam does. She just hides it better. I also really hope the writers don't just brush past the psychological toll this is going to take on everyone. Assuming they get Nick back in, they have to get him back, right? They can't just kill him off, but assuming they do, Nick is going to be severely traumatized. He has been pumped full of heavy narcotics. He has been tied up and taunted by a man who has haunted his family for decades. The PTSD is going to be off the charts, and Chelsea, seeing him like that, seeing Adam pushed to the absolute brink of murder, it's going to change them. This isn't just a quick trip to Vegas that they can forget about on the flight home. This is a life-altering event. And I want to see the fallout. I want to see the messy, ugly, difficult recovery process. I don't want them to just be back at the GCAC drinking martinis next month like nothing happened. And finally, let's circle back to Riza. I just have this nagging feeling that she is the key to everything. She holds all the cards right now. She knows the city. She knows Matt's associates. She knows how to navigate the shadows. Adam and Chelsea are completely at her mercy, and that is a terrifying place to be. Riza could literally decide their fate with one phone call. She could call her guys and have Matt taken out, or she could call Matt and hand Adam over on a silver platter. The suspense is killing me, but honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. This is the kind of storytelling that keeps us hooked, so buckle up, you guys. The Vegas nightmare is far from over, and Chelsea Lawson just made sure she has a front row seat to the chaos. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think Chelsea was right to go to Vegas? Do you think Riza will turn on them? Let's talk about it.